You've been focusing on the wrong things all this time. I keep telling you on and on and on. Be a professional. A real successful entrepreneur knows how to efficiently allocate their resources. You, on the other hand, spend time like an awkward geek in a library looking to understand and develop the most complex systems that will never help you because you're ignoring the most simple yet important things in this business. And still, you're neglecting the one thing that dictates your revenue trajectory. I want to wish a warm welcome to all the Syndicate members to a new video. It's March and we're finishing the first quarter of 2025. Yeah, that's how fast time flies. Now, I want to ask you to pause this video and write down all the promises that you made to yourself on January 1st for this year. How many of them actually turned into reality so far? That's some food for thought for later. Now, without any further introduction, I'm going to talk about the one thing that can save your year and change the downward spiral that you find yourself into. More exactly, model acquisition. 2025 might be the last golden age of starting OFM, so get off your ass and start taking notes on what I'm about to tell you. I want you to be a professional and not just write down this info, but also start applying it from today on. There's literally nothing stopping you from starting today and already have results in a few weeks. I've been saying it before and I'm still preaching this. Instagram remains the king of traffic. My six-fig model's main traffic source is IG, so stop wasting your time and step up your IG game because it has the highest potential of virality. Today, I will be addressing three main challenges on model acquisition and onboarding. Number 1, IG account takeover. Number 2, poor location for content. Number 3, poor phone quality. Now, the first major challenge you'll face when working with a creator is this. She doesn't have an existing Instagram account, or she refuses to use her own. This makes your life 10 times harder right from the start, because now you're stuck building from zero. No social proof, no followers, no engagement, no credibility. You're not just managing a model, you're rebuilding a brand from scratch, and that's an uphill battle. Now let me give you an example. Think about dentists. When a young dentist finishes university, what do? They either pay over $100,000 to buy out a retiring dentist's client list, or they try to work in a clinic that already has a consistent flow of patients. Because they're not trying to build a business from the ground up, they're buying momentum, they're buying trust. And that applies in every industry. Because think about it for a second, why do franchises work? You're not just buying a product, you're buying a reputation, a brand that people already trust. It's the same reason people will drop $300 on Nike shoes without asking a single question, but they'll hesitate to spend $30 on a better product from a random brand they never heard of. Because it's not always about quality, it's about credibility. And it works the same way with your model's Instagram. If there's no audience, no social proof, no real activity, it looks like every other nobody trying to be someone. The first wave of followers is always the hardest to get. That's why having an existing page with at least some kind of audience is like starting on level 3 instead of level 0. The audience buys trust, and that starts with an account that already has people watching. Creators with poor location. This one hurts. The good news, it's fixable. The bad news, it's still a massive disappointment when you finally sign a creator and she lives in a place that looks like a South American prison cell from 1974. I don't know if they took random people off the streets to design those apartments, but it's the worst that you can get, especially in South America. It's like someone handed the keys to a blindfolded construction crew with a Sims addiction. It's not gonna make anyone stay on her page. Best case scenario, some middle-aged redhead feminist launches a GoFundMe to help this poor girl out. That's it. We've had multiple syndicate members run into this exact problem and solved it. They went for Airbnbs. They started renting apartments on filming days and shooting content in better spaces that matched the branding they wanted to push. And it worked. But there's two sides to this. The pro, get access to an infinite variety and better visual storytelling. The con, it costs money, it takes planning, and you're constantly on the move. Now, here are some tips on how to stay professional and optimize this setup. Make a master list of Airbnb spots in her area. Scout each one based on natural light, aesthetics, props, and vibe. Book ahead of time to reduce last-minute stress and save money. And finally, plan content themes based on the style of the location. So if you're going to have a luxury condo, you're going to go for a luxury vibe. If you're going to have an artsy loft, you're going to go for a moody vibe, and so on. But this isn't a deal breaker. Of course, it's not ideal, but you're basically trading convenience for quality. And in this industry, quality is non-negotiable. If you're serious about actually hitting 6 figs, this is one of those sacrifices that you make early on. Treat it like an investment, not an expense. And remember, poor content is never the model's fault. It's the manager's job to find a solution, or the audience will find a different creator. And finally, talking about the phone quality, more specifically poor phone quality, this is something that should be filtered out during the initial interview. But if you've already made the mistake of signing a creator with a terrible camera quality, or maybe you're too hyped about her looks to care in the moment, then you've got one option. Invest in a new device. There's no way around it. You can have the perfect angles, the best scripts, and the hottest outfits, but if the video looks like it was filmed on a toaster from 2012, nobody's gonna watch. What works best for Instagram? First of all, iPhones. Always. Our team uses iPhone 12 or newer, but that doesn't mean older models can't work. But the rule is simple. Use common sense. If it looks blurry, laggy, or pixelated, it's hurting your funnel. Now, you don't need a Netflix camera, but you do need something that looks crisp on a phone screen. Because in this game, visuals are everything. People decide whether to follow, click, or sub in the first 2 seconds of seeing your reel. And in those 2 seconds, bad video quality means instant scroll. So once again, if you're serious about scaling, treat the phone like a business tool, not a personal expense. It pays for itself the moment your content starts converting. Now, I'm sorry to tell you there's other factors such as the creator's laziness and her massive lack of talent, which aren't going to be that easy to manage. If you ask me, not even worth trying to. In case she's having one of these problems, then either look for other alternatives in social medias or search for another creator. But the easiest way to solve time and money and to reach high 5 figures relatively fast with a new creator from Instagram alone is signing a creator who A. has an existing Instagram account and an active OF account, B. select the model so well in terms of looks and hardworking skills that she turns from a liability into your biggest asset. Trying to stick with models who are making your life harder is a no-go for this year, unless it's the only option. But make sure you take a big understanding between an only option and picking the first opportunity that arises just because you're impatient to start or too lazy to do a proper selection process. What no course seller is ever going to tell you is that Instagram is enough for you to hit 6 figs, and you don't need to worry about all the fancy social medias which take weeks to warm up and months until they convert into decent results. You only need a hard-working creator who listens to you and has a decent Instagram account to begin with. And in case you're wondering what a decent number is, then I can tell you that when I see an Instagram creator working alone and having 20k followers on the main IG, she's not making more than 1k by herself. You being on that account should easily scale it up to 4 or 5k revenue a month just by adding a competent back-end structure, not talking about the increase of volume in reels and quality of the front end, which could easily take it to 10k in a couple of months with no other social media. You need less help than you actually think at this moment. All you need is a better onboarding process, because I'm telling you, doing a compromise in the short term when signing a creator actually means a life sentence of making no more than 3k for the rest of your life before splitting profit with her and covering OF percentage. So basically you'll be left with less than your grandma's pension. If you want to understand more on signing the right creators, then we're going to put up some written materials in the group with the help of a lawyer whose only job is to keep us away from jail. And as always, keep up the hustle, stay Syndicate.